another edition of Chapter Select, the book club for video games. I am Randy Isbell, and with me as always is Jens. Jens, how you doing?
Randy, I am doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing okay. It's been a week. We won't talk about outside world stuff because by the time this reaches air, hopefully there's more clarification. Anyways,
that's not what the show's about. This show is about the video games.
And I am exhausted from that as well. So we are going to finish up, for real this time, with The Evil Within.
Chapters 11 through 15.
Yes, 11 through 15. I forgot where we had stopped, so thank you. 11 through 15. But before we get into that, because we forgot last time,
yes,
Jens, what have you been playing?
Not a lot. I finished Dragon Marked for Death, and I realized that if I wanted to get the good ending in Dragon Marked for Death, that would be a pretty much impossibly steep hill to climb. Basically, it requires a no-death playthrough of every character. And I said, nope.
Right.
Because who knows how many hundreds of deaths I've had over my run with just the Empress. And that game is a long and grindy and... I mean, it's quite good. It's from, I don't know, I guess it's a team that's done Mega Man... maybe Mega Man X? I don't know. It's a Japanese developer. They pride themselves on particularly hard kind of grindy games. Actually, I should just look up who they are. Dragon Marked for Death. You can see how prepared I was to talk about things I've actually been playing.
Right.
Developer Inti Creates. Developers of Azure Striker, Gunvolt, Blaster Master, Gal Gun, Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, and a bunch of others.
Oh, I was going to say, I haven't heard of most of them. I mean, obviously, I knew the original Blaster Master, but...
Mega Man ZX. That's the Mega Man game. And Mega Man Zero. Okay, yeah. So it's the Mega Man Zero people making a side-scrolling RPG in kind of the same tradition as something like a Dragon's Crown, but with a more varied... The thing that really makes that game interesting is that every character controls completely differently. I don't know if we talked about this yet.
We have not.
But like I played the Wizard for a little bit, and the Wizard literally has a spell book with button combos that you have to memorize. So if you want to be effective as the Wizard, you better be good at whatever, the same ability, the same skill that would make you good at a Street Fighter, right? Where the actual combo memorization and stuff. Whereas
I would be screwed.
Whereas the Shinobi, the ninja character, is, has like a triple jump and is extremely agile. And then there's kind of, the Empress is like a battle wizard. She's got a ranged attack and she's got a good sword, which is a pretty good balanced character, which is what I played the game through with. And it's pretty good. It's got really lovely music. It's got some nice dungeons. You do go back to those dungeons a lot. I mean, it's got maybe like a dozen dungeons, but it's got hundreds of missions that you partake in them. So you'll find yourself kind of traversing the same areas over and over again a lot. But it's a big hack and slash RPG type thing. And if you like this sort of thing, and if you don't mind the fact that there's definitely a grind. So the grind was funny because, they're kind of, the last couple of levels get unlocked by doing optional objectives, which we did not realize. I played this whole game in co-op with a friend. And basically, there were a couple of missions that were actually DLC missions that were super hard. One is to defeat this bandit who is basically a DLC character that once you defeat him, you gain him as an optional selectable character in the game. And we were stuck on that. So we were like grinding to level 50, grinding to level 60. We got like super high up, beat the guy, realized it wasn't actually the end of the game, or it wasn't what we needed to do to continue the game. Like, looked up in a guide what the optional objectives are that we were missing. Did them, and then did the last couple of missions, which were, like, ridiculously under-leveled for us. So we were doing, like, level 15, level 25 kind of end quests with level 60 characters.
Okay.
And we just blew through, like, the last 5 or 6 levels. So it was kind of anticlimactic. After a very hard game up until then, it then became, now you are super OP for the last couple. So, yeah, it was cool. I would probably give it a 7 if I were giving a score to it. Looks like it has a 9 out of 10 on Steam, so, and this game got pretty high reviews, so maybe I'm the outlier on this. I thought it was merely pretty good. But yeah, that's been pretty much it. Other than that, more Squadrons campaign. It's still really great. Haven't been playing as much as I would want. And then the game I've put the most time into, you're going to hate me for, but it's our next assignment, so I won't talk about it too much.
Oh yeah, just jumping ahead. I see how you are.
Yeah, suffice it to say that I need to actually stop myself from playing it now, because otherwise I will finish it before we even get to our first episode, and I don't want to do that to myself. I want to pace myself a little bit, but it's just as good as I remembered. It's amazing. I can't wait for you to play it. I'm so excited. So excited. How about you?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing with me. I've been playing more Crash. Haven't gotten to it as much as I want. I believe I'm in the last island area, so just a few more levels to go to beat the actual game. But I've been trying to go back and get all the boxes and the old Crash stuff to just beat your head against the wall a few times. And I don't know if I'm ever going to platinum this game, because some of those levels I can't imagine getting every box and every gem and not dying in one go. And you have to do that on every level for one of the trophies. So I don't think I have that skill anymore, but I might give it a try. But it's so much fun. It's going to be probably in my top 5 for game of the year. It's just hit all the right marks as far as a good Crash game. Other than that, I haven't been playing much. I downloaded the new, or I guess it's not new anymore, but the latest F1 game, the F1 2020, was on PlayStation Now. And I like racing games, so I figured I'd give it a try. That game kicks my butt. I feel like I barely touch the stick and I crash. Or I'll go around and do 2 laps just beautifully, and then I'll make one mistake and my race is done. It asks a lot of you, and I'm still trying to learn that. But other than that, I haven't really been playing a ton. So yeah, I figured this would be a bit shorter of a section so we can get into The Evil Within. Again, chapters 11 through 15.
Yes. We do learn a lot in these chapters about what is happening in the world of The Evil Within. But
to me, it's anticlimactic. So I think we were on the right. Let's just get into the story first.
Yes, that is where I want to get, because that's what we've been promising people for 2 episodes straight now, is that we'll get to the story. And the last time we talked, I was very frustrated. I had pretty much, I was walking in circles, listening to podcasts, kind of not feeling it at all. Like this game, pretty much as soon as I picked it back up and got back into some of the more story-centric areas that follow, it kind of pulled me back in.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think I enjoyed this last section of the game a bit more. But as far as the story goes, I think we were on the right track, that it's all about in the mind, and it's all about this Rubik character. And I kind of had a sense that we were going to wake up in one of those tubs that we saw in several parts of the game, and you do that at the end. So to me, it was a little disappointing, because we talked about this on the first 2 parts of this, that I was waiting for that big, Resident Evil reveal, like the original Resident Evil with Albert Wesker, and then you get all this stuff, and you're figuring something's going on with the doctor, and all that really turns into is the doctor was working with this kid who was doing experiments after his sister burns to death, and
I just want to confirm. I want to confirm one thing. Is Leslie the same as Ruvik, or is Leslie...
No. So
Leslie is another kid who is similar to the child version of Ruvik, right?
Yes.
Who they're going to use as a replacement.
I believe that's the goal, or what all those experiments were it was like child's play.
Because there's some scenes where it seems like they're contrasting Leslie with young Ruvik, or Ruben Victoriano, as he is called as a child, a gifted but not quite, sane, perhaps, child, but brilliant.
He definitely had a traumatic event that really messed him up. I believe
losing his sister Laura.
Yeah, I believe Leslie is supposed to be the new vessel for Ruvik.
So Leslie Leslie is compatible. That's kind of the thing with him.
That's why the female cop, what is it, Kidman?
Yes.
That's why she wants to kill Leslie, because she knows that as long as he dies, then Ruvik can't escape, is what I took out of it. Okay,
so let's start at the beginning. We should start with Ruvik. Okay, we've got Ruvik. Yes. He's brilliant, maybe mentally unstable child. He loses his sister Laura in a fire. He himself is severely burned in said fire, which I guess, is it clear whether he set the fire?
No, it was set by those
people trying to take revenge against.
Yeah, so their
his family.
Their family moved in and they took umbrage of it.
Right.
It was like,
which was
they're
this just
rich and we don't like the rich, so we're going to burn their barn to show them a lesson. And one guy goes, I hear kids in there, and they're like, no, you didn't, or whatever.
But he does. Ruvik eventually goes crazy over his trauma, kills his parents, takes control of their money, and then gives that money to this mental hospital so that he can be provided with subjects for his weird experiments into the human mind. And he begins designing this method for reshaping reality in his image so that he can actually physically go into people's minds or go into people's memories and mess with them. And I guess he's trying to go into his own mind, if I understood this correctly, so he can be reunited with Laura or travel back into his own memories. That was his goal originally. And then the Anthony Hopkins-looking Dr. Jimenez kind of, we talked about this last time, he usurps Ruvik's work.
Yes.
He kind of sees the potential in it for whatever his own plans are with Mobius and with STEM. And this is the point. This is the point where they bring Leslie in. And Kidman knows this somehow.
So Kidman,
can you pick it up at this point?
So basically, like you said, so Mobius or whatever that doctor's name, Dr. Jimenez, sorry, comes in. Mobius was the organization. That's where I'm getting that name from. So Jimenez comes in with this shadowy organization or whatever, and they end up killing Ruben.
Mobius is the organization, and STEM is the method.
Yeah,
the machine.
So they kill Ruben, but they have to keep his brain alive, and that's what's running that whole STEM thing.
And they want to transfer it to his consciousness to Leslie.
I don't think the doctors do. I think that from what I'm getting at, or getting from the game, is Ruvik has now trapped the doctor in one of those tubs and has him trapped in this evil world. So that he is now like sending out whatever. I don't know if people are working for Rubik or if he can send out mind feelers or however this crazy world works, and is bringing in subjects because he is trying to take their body so he's not stuck as a brain, is what I'm getting from it. And so that's why you see the doctor in there the whole time, and you have that one scene. It was in a scene that we had on our last episode, but when you're in the mansion with the doctor and you get really close to getting out of the grasp there, and then that big giant beast comes out, and that's when the doctor goes, oh, I understand now. He's trying to get out. It's because he's trying to
If he's in Leslie's body, he can be out of the hospital. He can go into the real world. Which, by the way...
I was going to say real quick, I do believe that's the Kidman is not... It's said in the game at one point, but she's not a rookie cop or whatever. I think she's part of a different organization that was brought in knowing what was going on at this Beacon Mental Hospital. But I'm thinking that your character, like you said, they're warping the mind and stuff. So when you're going around and killing all these monsters, I just am picturing Sebastian in the real world running around killing innocent people. So my question to you, because again, I just watched the ending cutscene. So you see Leslie leave, and then Sebastian has that headache that he was having in the side world, or the inside world, or whatever you want to call it, the Ruvik world. Did he destroy Ruvik? Did Ruvik connect with Leslie, or is Ruvik in Sebastian? Which way do you think that was supposed to be interpreted?
Yeah, I think Ruvik might be in Leslie. I don't think that Ruvik is in Sebastian, just because I don't think Ruvik is in the second game, so I don't think that it's about the continuation of what happens with Ruvik.
Well, then that would be really disappointing. I'm going to have to go watch a trailer when we get done with this, and then we'll discuss more. Let's talk gameplay a little bit.
Well, we haven't talked about the final... We should talk about what happens at the end, right? At the end of the story. So we talked about the fact that you leave the hospital, you leave the unconsciousness. Yeah. The consciousness. We haven't talked about how you have to fight a gigantic brain.
Well, I was going to get there in the gameplay, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to talk bosses and stuff.
All right, let's talk bosses. Apologies.
I am still with you that the bosses are the best part of this game. I'm trying to remember in my head now what bosses we had in the last 5 chapters, so I'm not messing with it. I know chapter 12 is the one that you are on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that chapter was awesome.
I enjoyed it. It was a fun Resident Evil 6 type set piece.
Yes, it was. As much as I have hated that this game has went more action than I was thinking it was going to be, that was the section of the game where I was totally cool with all the action. The stops in between fighting this big giant monster and having to face off some zombies or sneak around to unlock the giant machine gun thing, which spoilers for the final boss, makes an appearance again, which I thought was really cool.
Yep. I mean, it's a typical shoot the glowy bits and stand on the turret kind of thing, but, you do get to steer a little bit. It reminded me a lot of, as I said, there is that one boss fight in Resident Evil 6 on the train where this kind of big thing just kind of follows you around for kind of a big chunk of set piece.
What did you think of the weird... this was like the second to last chapter. I'm trying to even think of what that creature would have been. It was like, it looked like an octopus that would drop its little babies to try to attack you.
The squid boss.
Yeah.
I thought the squid boss was a lot of fun.
I thought it was clever.
Well, the leeches would indicate his position.
But that's
you
only
kind of,
if...
You follow the leeches around.
You follow the leeches around, but there's times where he would go up above on the ceiling, and there were times that he would go, like, he would cloak himself like he was a Metal Gear Solid 4 boss.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was really fun, and I sat there and shot leeches for a good 2 or 3 minutes and made sure I had all the handgun ammo I could get, because every time you killed one, you got ammunition. It was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And the final level, to me, Chapter 15 is the best chapter because it's a lengthy chapter of traversal where you don't fight anything, which was a beautiful change of pace, especially because you backtrack through a whole bunch of environments that you've been through before. And it's kind of a nice feeling being like, oh yeah, it's the, entry hall of the hospital and it's the blood pool and it's all my favorites, but of course they're now cleared out. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of it actually gives a little bit of continuity to what previously seemed like very disconnected environments. I talked about how this just seemed like a bunch of random environments that don't fit together when we were going through them the first time. And now they actually seem more of a piece in the final level where you traverse them all kind of in a connected way. So I like that part of it. And then I like that it then becomes briefly just a combat arena where you just shoot waves and waves of enemies, which was fun. And then fighting the three safe heads was fun. 3? I thought it was 2. Oh, no, you're right. It is only 2 safe heads. Because there was, who I'm thinking of? There was a big chainsaw guy just before the 2 safe heads. You're right. That chainsaw guy drove me nuts. So that's who I was thinking of. Yeah, that fight was crazy too. That gauntlet of enemies that you were talking about. And then you get the guy with the rocket launcher, and then he just says, screw it, and comes out with the chainsaw, and I had very little ammunition at that point too. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to pick stuff up and dodging. But no, I finished the chainsaw, or the 2 safe heads with 4 handgun bullets left. Nice. And that was it. And then we get to the final boss. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to have to punch this giant brain. But no, I thought the bosses were all fantastic. I'm with you. I liked the last chapter, how it connected everything. After the 2 safe heads, I really liked that hallway that you'd go through with the spotlights. Though I told you that, so we ended up, I think I died 10 more times than you overall. And all 10 of them were in that 70? Hallway. I died 60 times. I died exactly 70 times. And I died, wow. I died at least 10 times in that hallway trying to... So there's a point where you can flip one of 2 levers, and I just figured it would open left or right, so I didn't even think about it. And one path, you go underneath all these tripwires, and the first one is just normal, and then the second one is tripwires and a spotlight that's moving around. I died there so much, just could not get it. So randomly, I opened the other door, and then realized, oh, all I have to do is shoot traps on this side. This is way easier. So I died pointlessly a lot at that ending section. Yeah, I thought the ending section was actually the most enjoyable. As I said, you get that kind of nice traversal section. You get that big combat arena, which is really fun. And then I really like the big boss brain fight, which, if you've got... I still had a bunch of arrows left at that point. Mm-hmm. That's what I was mostly using. But, it's a pretty simple snipe at the weak spots kind of fight, but it's very spectacular visually.
Yeah, and especially once you get on that truck and are being thrown around and shooting him and stuff. I thought the ending was decent enough.
Yes, and you were so happy that they just gave you a turret, right? Because
I had nothing.
Otherwise you've been boned.
I was in big trouble. I was sitting there going, okay, well, luckily I don't save over the save each time, so I could just go back a little bit and try those fights again somehow.
I had to dial the difficulty down about 2/3 through the game because I could not proceed with my equipment as it was.
Where'd you get stuck at? Or was it just you didn't have enough stuff?
I just completely ran out at some point, like chapter 11 or so, and I ended up dialing it down.
I've definitely learned that I am too twitchy for these kind of games. I wasted so many bullets where I would have plenty of time to aim my shot, and I would just like quickly go and shoot and miss and go, just, what am I doing?
Yeah, this is not an easy game. So
no.
I'll fully admit, I'll admit to my cowardice. I'm usually a medium guy. I usually think medium is the intended difficulty that you should finish a game on, but nope. There's only so much I was willing to put up with this. And
honestly, I can't blame you. That's totally fine. I mean, you play Dark Souls, sir, so I can't
that's okay.
Get on you about your gaming ability. Because
in Dark Souls, I can just do a bunch of grinding and pull myself up from my bootstraps. Whereas here, I felt like at some point, I did. You end up in a dead end, and you either can get past something or you can't with what you have.
Right. But
I don't know. I don't like these kinds of this thing of what is essentially a shooter. Let's not kid ourselves. A shooter, but with extremely limited resources.
Correct.
I don't know what you would call this genre, but
Stupid.
it's not really survival horror.
No. The way that
it's not really a full action game.
Yeah, the way you could have only so much ammunition, I figured, okay, this is just Resident Evil, it's going to be great. But that it's so much shooting and so much that you can't avoid, and so many areas you have to clear everything out before you can advance. And so that was a little disappointing, and it's going to knock down my score. And anything else we want to talk about before we hit that score? Or
yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about the ending, right? You defeat Ruvik. He doesn't, and then the question is it a dun-dun-dun kind of ending, or is it actually a positive ending? That's one thing I do like about it is the ambiguity. Ambiguity is not a bad thing in a ending to a horror story. So, but yeah, game rating, I don't know. Do you want to start on this one? This was your pick.
I have been between a 6 and a 7 this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I said it would come down to how it stuck the ending. As you said, the last chapter is really good. The overall story seemed kind of basic as far as horror goes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be nice. I'm going to give it a 7 because I don't want to go another half point thing. I seem to do that a lot, especially lately.
Well, I did it for a movie, so I guess you can blame me too.
But yeah, I thought it was good. It was a good game.
Yeah. I don't think I can quite do a 7.
That's okay.
I'm sitting at a 6.5. But that is not bad in my eyes. It is not it was not a terrible time, and I would not call it a bad experience overall. But it was not a great experience.
Correct. And I do think it got better as we went on. I think if we gave it a score after each episode, the number was going to go up, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, not going to argue with that.
All right, so you're the one super excited about this game. You've played it before, and you're getting me into it. It was really funny when Sean asked me what we were going to play now that Cyberpunk got delayed, and I told him this game. He went, "Oh, so Jens got you reeled into it." And I went, "Yep, he did." So
yes.
Go ahead and reveal it, sir.
All right, for next time, we will be playing, and this is a 6-chapter game. We'll be playing the first 3 chapters. It is Binary Domain from Team Yakuza, a cover shooter in the Gears of War style, with a physics engine and dismemberment mechanic as its gimmick, as well as a terrible non-functioning voice control as its gimmick that I advise everybody to just not use. Just hit tab or LB and pick your responses. This is a game where the responses matter. Make sure that you tell your teammates what they want to hear. Make sure that you pay attention to those relationship meters. There are romance options in this game. All of these are things that you can miss. I know people who played through this game in its entirety and did not know that there were choices. Did not know that there were romance options. So I want you all to experience this game to its fullest. There are multiple endings. The story is super interesting. It's a high-concept sci-fi story. Think Blade Runner kind of thing. And it's a really great shooter, and it's a really great, one of the great underrated games. A gigantic flop on its release. I think it sold like 100,000 copies or less. Basically did no business. Is one of the few games, well, not few, but to me, like, it's the one that hurts the most of games that didn't make Xbox backwards compatibility. So, you're gonna have to either play it on 360, or the best version of it is the version that's on Steam. I grabbed it for Randy when it was on sale, during the last Sega sale. It was like $4. So I just bought one for Randy. I think that sale is over now, unfortunately, but still not a very expensive game. No. Runs great. My computer is like a decade old. Other 360 era games do not run well on it. This game runs buttery smooth. And what else can I say about it? It's fantastic. I hope that you all play along. I'm incredibly excited for Randy's thoughts on it.
Yeah, I haven't quite started it yet. You were saying that you played a bunch of it already. I plan on starting it soon. But I do love the fact that we have not done this on purpose, but it's worked perfectly with the name of our podcast. But every game we've played on this podcast have had chapters in it. So we may not be able to play Cyberpunk, because I doubt that game has chapters.
Well, we'll have to figure out. With Cyberpunk, I think our method is just going to be we play as much Cyberpunk as we possibly can, right, and then regroup every week.
Yeah,
I think,
and see where we're at.
Yeah. But anywho, one thing with that release of Binary Domain is early on there was an issue with the button support, where if you were using a, for instance, wired 360 pad to play that game with, which I would suggest, since it is a Gears of War style cover shooter, that it didn't give you the Xbox 360 matching button prompts. Like, it wouldn't give you Y, X, or B, or A. It would give you, F or E or whatever. It would give you the keyboard commands. They have since patched that in. So if you go into your input settings, there'll be a little drop-down control for what style of controller prompts you want to see. Pro tip. Anyway, sorry. Randy, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say that, it may not matter because Cyberpunk just may never come out at this point.
I mean, I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Do you think it failed cert? Do you think that's what happened?
No, it went gold.
The next gen versions, at least. Well, it was gold, but
no, it's, from what I have heard, it was the last gen versions that were messing everything up.
Oh, I see.
It was the current gen stuff that was screwing up, and they pushed everything back. So it would be interesting to see how all of that goes. But hopefully you've gone back and watched or listened, to all of the other Chapter Select episodes. Definitely check out the Chapter Select at the movie episodes. Ace Attorney last week was fantastic, and we both enjoyed that movie. And next week, we will be watching Wing Commander, which Jens had watched before me, and I watched for the first time. Mm-hmm. So listen to that next Friday. And then the Friday after that, we will be back here for part 1, chapters 1 through 3 of Binary Domain. So check that out, November 27th. That's just after Thanksgiving, I believe. God, this year's been going by so fast.
Yep, it's a crazy year. Crazy year.
But we will be back next Friday with a movie review of Wing Commander. Until then, I'm Randy. That's Jens. Thanks very much for joining.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you then.
Don't give up the light, using every last breath, escaping the long way down.
Hold on 1 second. I'm watching this Evil Within 2 trailer.
If you see Ruvik, then I need to cut out the part where I said I don't think Ruvik's in it. I just don't think Ruvik's in it.
Save Lily from the fire.
I think Moby is
Oh
featured.
my god.
What?
I might have to fucking play this.
Why?
Hold on 1 second.
Save her.
That psycho is still on the loose in here. And he's got Lily.
Yeah, that's definitely not Ruvik. Was it? No. I definitely don't think that's a Rubik. It definitely looks more action oriented. So remember how I was telling, and that's the one thing I forgot to bring up, which is fine, about the journals that you'd get that was talking about how Sebastian's kid died in a fire and his wife and him separate because of it, and then she goes missing, and it comes to find out that she's an investigator and she was getting really close to something. It looks like the second game is all about him looking for that story, because there was like a whole wall of "you don't believe your wife" or
Oh, interesting.
whatever, and it looked like his daughter was on fire at one point.
Okay.
So, interesting.
Are you all right?
Why wouldn't I be alright?